being in the last 20 years with Elementary Education, Secondary Education Act, title programs, and most recently federal legislation with No Child Left Behind. I said 10 years ago that No Child Left Behind was a flawed system. It is a flawed system, it remains a flawed system, but it is the system. So it is not one that we can run away from. The requirements of No Child Left Behind undoubtedly will be changed within the next 2 years, because when we reach 2013, there won't be 100 schools in the United States that meet the requirements of No Child Left Behind. And that is, in my view, as a flawed system. The positive, and there is a positive, and it's a huge positive in No Child Left Behind, and it is that it has required school districts and schools all over the United States to pay attention that children in subgroups would not and were not receiving. Children in a subgroup of poverty, minority, language, disability, those youngsters did not historically receive the attention that they deserved. No Child Left Behind forced school districts to address the needs of those children. That is the single most redeeming factor to the legislation, and it's one that we can support. The intent tonight was to present for you a broad overview of the data that we've received as recently as today, so that you would have information upon which to make judgments in the days and weeks and months ahead as you receive additional input as the data is analyzed from staff members who can make and will make recommendations for improvement and enhancement of student achievement, which is, in fact, the main reason for No Child Left Behind. So with that, we're going to present an overview. Then we have asked representatives to be present to give you an elementary perspective, a middle school perspective, a high school perspective, and then a Romeoville High School analysis of their data.
At our own district's data, and also talking about the things that we need to do to improve. This graph that is shown up above is a history from the district. Again, this is K-12, all of the grades put together. And the line that's on an angle there shows what the requirement is for the No Child Left Behind. We needed to be at 77.5, and that's where that is. You can see that the gold is our reading scores over the year, and the blue is our math. This year is the first year that we did not make it in the overall category in reading. We're still hanging in there with math, but in reading this year we did fall below. And I'll go in and explain a little bit more what adequate yearly progress means in a moment.
Okay. You're taking them out and we're not counting them anywhere. I think that's what Rick's getting at. You can't take the percentage out and say, but look how great the scores are, because that doesn't really mean anything, because you got to add those scores back into wherever else you would do. So the slide doesn't mean anything. It just shows that the numbers go up. If the Cubs take out all their losses against the National League, their record goes up, you know? I mean, it doesn't really.
Not really.
It's
no.
not. It's
No, that's...
My other frustration is we throw a whole lot of resources at those schools because they house those programs. Mm-hmm. So Tibbet should have higher scores, because don't make the excuse that, well, they house the program for the other schools. We give them the resources to run it. So it's irrelevant. And we get this slide constantly given to us, and it's irrelevant.
So you'd like me to move on?
Yes.
Performing schools in the district and the ones with the worst demographics. Stop justifying poor results by manipulating slides to make us look better. Give us the facts.
Because if it was consistent, we would take the scores out when they're high, too.
It's no different than the slide when it compared us to schools that I wouldn't even move within 10 miles of, nevertheless send my children to. So it's as irrelevant as that slide was.
I guess, well, I'll back up. Is there a reason?
I'm not going to let Bolingbrook High School off the hook here, but how do you just pick a subgroup? There's not a group on that screen there that I'm impressed with.
Point made.
So I get nervous that we give the direction then that, hey, we really need if you got 43 kids or, we can't focus our attention on any one of those groups up there
Point
because
made.
there's not a number up there that's
What I'm concerned
Asian
about.
kids at Bolingbrook High School, I guess, are doing okay. But I mean,
I think that's a great
No.
point, Member Evans. But my point was, when there wasn't a number, were they getting any focus? When there wasn't,
Oh,
a number. That was. I mean, I agree. Now I think all the schools have all the numbers except for, Asian and LEP. So I think they're going to have the.
Good instruction means that you look at each student and look at their progress, whether they're at the bottom, whether they're at the top, whether they're purple, yellow, red, whether they came in with a limo, whether they came in, walking because their parents can't afford a car.
So do we do
Good instruction. We need to get better at it. But good instruction, you don't just look at a subgroup and say we're going to do things better for this group of kids.
just because in the first year of it we were 25 points over what the No Child Left Behind goal was means nothing to me. The fact is we've only had about 7 points of growth over 7 years in our district. So I appreciate the interest in stating that we have a goal and we're going to increase test scores by 3% or 6% or 15 or 30 over 15 over 5 but when they don't perform, I'm not going to just sit here and say, okay, well, thank you, you did your best. Come back and talk to me again in 12 months.
No.
The fact is, at Romeoville High School, with a 13-point drop, I am absolutely disgusted that this is the first time we're hearing that there's any problems. Why do I have to wait for the presentation on August 23rd to hear that we're going to have a 13-point drop? Now, I don't expect anybody to look in their magic ball and tell me what ISAT scores are going to be and PSAE scores, but I sure do expect you over the course of quizzing, giving out English papers, grading assignments, follow up with department chairs, and so on, for you to know that there's a problem. And I don't feel that our money has been spent, the taxpayers' money, in a way that they care to tell us that there's even a problem.
Let me.
So I'm not going to sit here and continually accept, and I don't buy the fact that Faith wasn't in a position. Phil was, our principals were, our teachers were.
Let me add to that.
Phil, Gary, 5%. Does that include STEP?
Yes.
5%.
3 and 2.
Benefits cost decrease per employee, correct? Didn't we save them money with the new benefit plan?
It was cost neutral.
Cost neutral. So we get the short end of the stick, they get a bigger salary.
I don't
Thank
think
you.
it's as clear cut as that, but I would just like us to, make a decision right now. Stop wasting this time up here. I've been up since 4 o'clock, I'm ready to go to sleep, and I got some more errands to run tonight. Because if we're just gonna say, this is not, like you say, what is gonna be the plan? We're not gonna put any more money in there, we're gonna have some heads rolling, let's just get it on the table. Because just going over this, we're not getting anywhere with this. And these are the facts. We have it. Our educators know it. I'm sure that our principals know it. I'm sure that from the conversation.
Liz, apparently they don't. In 7 years, there's only been 7 points of growth. And this board has sat here for at least 3 years saying we expect a whole lot more.
Okay.
So the message has not been given.
Okay, how do we need to give that message then? How do
I'm
you,
waiting to hear that from Faith, apparently.
wait, no, the board is good the
We do
initiative.
not direct employees other than those folks.
Okay, then I need to hear us as a consensus say, how are we gonna direct our employee to direct their employees to where we're going? Because just talking about these scores, that they're not really the aggregate, they not the desegregated, that's not getting us anywhere.
Okay, I'll throw an idea.
Okay.
If it doesn't get better dramatically, then the folks in senior leadership will be held accountable for that.
Wow, you can't have that discussion here right now.
Why not?
I mean,
Why not?
Well, because we haven't done that, and
what does
that's
that
what we
mean?
need to do.
I mean, with
Well, what does that mean?
You have contracts with some employees. I mean,
Well, now you have 1-year contracts with all our administrators except for 1 or 2,
Right.
except for 2.
So we
And
can't
at-
keep throwing everything, knocking down everything. We've got to go in a path, and we say, well, this not gonna work, this not work, we need to start it. What directive do we want to give them now? This is a new school year. This is a new opportunity. They need to go in there with vigor. They need to go in there ready to work tomorrow. What are they gonna leave here with tonight? Because everybody gonna run and get on their Facebook, or, you know, all the rest of the social networking. Let's give them something now.
Mike,
Steve,
you can
you
sit
can't-
there and you
They
can't
haven't told
belabor
us how we
the.
got there.
We
you
know-
can't tell us how we're going to fix it if they can't even tell us how we got there. In a year, they couldn't tell us that Romaville High School has a problem. How do I trust these people to fix it if apparently they don't know the problem?
Well, we are
So
where
I
we
want
are.
to hear how we got there.
Okay, well, ask away. There doesn't seem to be any answers coming forth,
Well,
to be quite
then
frank.
sit down. If we don't have answers, why are we here? This was a board workshop. If they don't have answers for us, why are we here?
She's trying to answer. Let's
I'm
just
waiting.
give some respect. And again, you know, maybe you need to, and we'll do it, because I just want to move forward. But let's hear how we got there, and it's all different things. Go ahead.
So is the question on the table plans for improvement or how we got there at the
You
high
can't
school
tell
level?
me how you're going to improve unless you tell me what the problem was.
I wasn't at the high schools last year.
Thank you.
I wasn't at the middle schools
Phil,
last
do you have an
year.
answer? You were here. Derek Kinder, Lindy Steves. I mean, you should know the answers. They should be telling you.
And I have my thoughts on that, and you'll see as there's a common theme of the plans for improvement about what needs to be addressed. That is going on feedback and observations. I did not visit high schools last year and look through classrooms.
So sorry, the guy who did a poor job, we got rid of. So sorry, we don't have any answers. That's what we're supposed to just sit. Supposed to tell the community, sorry, we don't have any
No.
answers. We don't know.
Right,
We don't know
right.
why every school's failing.
Let's complete the presentation and then answer your questions.
Then that means you don't understand it. And if you don't understand your problem, you can't create a solution. All we do then is continue to spend $1 billion over 5 years fixing solutions that we obviously don't know the problems.
And I would like to even add to that, not new administrative evaluation team, but we talked about just an administrative evaluation team, even for our senior and mature administrators. I do believe that those things, if we don't have even the exact, but some of the, like you say, right, it boils down to the classroom teachers. They know the issues that are there. They've got to pass them back up to the assistant principals and the principals. So I do believe, but stating each and every one of them, how we got there, it was a time, and it was a lot of different variables that got us there. So now for us to move forth, and that's when we hold their hands to the fire.
Dr.
Being able to articulate that and support it. Yeah, coming up with a guided reading group was a day process. Then getting it out there, explaining it, getting into classrooms, looking at that, and then this year making it part of the administrator evaluation tool. That's a long continuum in looking at that. But I don't want you to think that we are not looking at what does good instruction look like and making sure that that's communicated and then implemented. We do have some things that we need to work on, K-12. I think that the reading strategies is also a place. In having conversations just with the middle and the high school folks when I met with them to put together the training opportunities for the literacy coach, what their idea of visualizing in 6th grade was way different than what we talk about in 5th grade. We saw that same thing in math. For those of you who work with me, I've already heard, I just had a middle high school moment where I'm learning that they have different ways of teaching, they have different vocabulary, they have different, and we need to fix that. I'm in the position to do that, but I've also just begun.